Coming up on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota, Tatsuya Imai is out. Who is in? No, literally, I'm asking anybody. Who is in? Does anybody know? Red Sox offer Alex Bregman a deal. Reportedly, those talks are going to start to speed up. Chicago Cubs, they got a decision to make, and we're here to talk all about it. Coming up on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. That's happening right now. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast on a Friday. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. We're coming at you here before the weekend, so thank you so much for diving in. Jump in the chat. Make sure you like our video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman with us to ring in the new year. Sarah's on the ones and twos. Justin, man, Happy New Year. How are you? How was your holiday? All that good stuff.
Happy New Year. It was great. For the first time in 4 years, me and my wife were not hosting ABC locally here in Chicago for the Countdown show because they had more of a national feed this year. So whatever, it was kind of weird like to have dinner with my in-laws and my mom and my kids and like then come home and watch New Year's Eve on TV. I mean, first time I've probably been home for New Year's Eve in honestly, maybe about 20 years between radio and TV. I've always been hosting something. So that was different, but it was still awesome, right? Like it was my family of 4, got to spend it with the boys. Obviously the baby went to bed early, but my 11-year-old stayed up. We watched the countdown. It was cool to cheers with him and my wife. And yeah, man, I'm really excited for 2026. We'll talk about Cubs in a second, but just like personally between, stuff with CHGO going on and then, other things I have going on in my life, I'm really excited about this year and I can't wait to get started.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'll tell you just from my little Twitter ecosystem, right? When I was just scrolling on New Year's Eve. Yeah. And I just moved back I just moved back. This is only my second year being back. So I'm not too familiar with this, but everyone on Twitter was like, where is the local broadcast?
Yeah, I know.
People were missing that local connection, that local flavor. I mean, everyone, sure, like the ball drop in New York is fine and all that stuff, but people were missing you guys, man. They were literally like, what the hell? So
I know it was cool.
Hopefully they come correct. Hopefully we become correct next year.
Yeah.
And I hate to put you back to work, man, but it seemed like people were missing it, dude.
It was cool to see. I did see a bunch of that. I didn't want to like retweet a bunch of it. I thought that was kind of like self-serving. Like I don't want to be like, hey, yeah, they miss us. But it was cool to see that the local feed, including Kenzie and Roman, was very much missed. And we'll see what happens next year. But either way, I'm excited for this year. Let's talk Cubs.
Yeah, you got to put that in the MJ bank. You know what I mean? You just got to like put it in the mental file. So like next year when you guys come back, you come back better than ever, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. We're gonna talk Cubs, Justin. Just really quickly though, I wanted to say something just really quick at the top of this show. 2 things. The first one is I just wanted to thank everyone, not only the people that are in this chat right now, but people who are going to be watching this episode throughout today. I just want to thank everyone on behalf of myself, Justin, Sarah, Luke, everyone with the Cubs team. For helping us last week get to 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
We went live. We did it in about 7 hours. That support means so much to us. It was such an important moment for our company. As we mention all the time, people at our company work extremely hard. The other thing that I did want to mention, though, too, as well, is I would be remiss, and forgive me if I'm speaking on behalf of him, but he's sick. He still isn't here. I just wanted to shout out Luke Stuckmeyer just really quickly, okay? Yeah. When we talk about CHGO, and if you wanted to imagine there was a Gallagher way at CHGO, Luke Stuckmeyer would have a statue at the CHGO Gallagher way, right? I don't know what pose he'd be making. Maybe he'd be eating rally cake. I don't know what kind of like busts they would put him in. Right. But I just want to say that he's been down right now. His family's been sick all through the holidays. It's been absolutely awful. We're all thinking about him and wanting him to get better. But more importantly, like it does deserve to be said. Everyone got a chance to speak when the 100,000 K came out. And I just wanted to take the opportunity right now to say there is no better leader and captain of the CHGO Cubs show than Luke. He's been incredibly integral and important to CHGO getting to 100,000 subscribers. The dude has won Emmys. He doesn't like to say that, but he deserves for people to say it for him. And just for me personally, I learn so much from Luke. Just what it means to be a professional, what it means to think. Like when we talk about storylines and how to attack certain topics and stuff, the dude definitely plays chess while everyone's playing checkers because he's been in the business for so long. And he just brings such a professional attitude to it. And then, of course, he's super funny. He's a great guy. He's incredibly insightful. He shows up even keel every day. You know what I mean? I always kind of know what I'm going to get from Luke when I show up to the office. So I just feel like that deserves to be said. After 100,000, he should have been there. He was sick. So forgive me. I just want to take the time on the CHGO Cubs podcast to also congratulate Luke because he's a huge part of that reason.
And let me piggyback you because I'm not going to take up all this time. And I echo all the things you said. He's been great. You know, I worked with him back at the old company as well. So I've done shows with him in the past. He's always been great to me. And he was instrumental in welcoming me this past season to my first year at CHGO Cubs. I know you're early on being a host as well for the Cubs. Luke kind of brought us all together. He was kind of like the point guard, if you will, to make sure that us three had a seamless transition, and it was fun, but we still got work done. And I thought we added a lot to the podcast, but he was the ringleader, and I expect that moving forward next year as well. So yeah, Luke, thank you for everything you've done for me, for Joey, for this whole organization, and get better soon so we can get some captain negativity to the chat. Let's go, man. We need you, buddy.
We need him more than ever right now. Corey Seacrest in the chat with a Toyota Super Chat. What is the over-under on the gallons of soup that Luke has had over the last 2 weeks? Man,
it's high.
It's pretty high. 10, 12, 15. We'll set the over-under at 9.5 and we'll let the chat decide. Other people saying Luke's awesome. I completely agree. Okay, having said that, let's get angry. Obviously, from our previously on CHGO Cubs, we were awaiting with bated breath Tatsuya Imai's decision. He had until January 2nd. Well, he made his decision yesterday, and it was a mystery team, Justin. The Houston Astros come to an agreement with Tatsuya Imai on a 3-year deal loaded with opt-outs. Each year has an opt-out to it. The guaranteed money is $54 million. The escalators get him up to, I believe, $63 million. Let's just start, Justin, with your initial thoughts of how surprised were you that it was the Houston Astros? Are you more surprised it was the Houston Astros or more surprised at the years and the money that Tatsuya Imai got out on the open market?
Honestly, I'm surprised at it all because early reports, this guy was going to make 150, 100. Like there were early reports of him, having this big time contract. And also, I think we've learned something that rumors don't mean anything. I don't remember seeing anything about the Astros being in on this guy. So the Astros sign him, and I'm bummed out. If you watch this, I thought Dylan Cease or Imai were going to be a Cub. Like I thought one of those two guys fit perfectly. They only cost money. They would help the rotation, all those things. And I still feel that way. I will say I'm surprised at the contract because you mean to tell me that like the Philadelphia Phillies couldn't beat that offer? You mean to tell me the New York Mets couldn't beat that offer? I don't think it's a money thing. I don't think the Cubs got cheap, quote unquote, got cheap on the situation. I think it's a situation where maybe the pitcher himself wanted to go to the Astros and or really wanted those opt-outs. And I see Gary Ross in the chat talking about how the Cubs really don't do a 1-year opt-out situation. This to me was not a cheap thing. Also, it may be something where Major League Ball clubs don't really know how to project this guy with success in the MLB because, again, yes, be mad at the Cubs if you want, but ultimately the Mets didn't get him, the Phillies didn't get him, a lot of teams didn't get him, and this contract was definitely very beatable. So it makes me a little confused on, did the player really want Houston? Does the other teams, do all these teams not really know where he fits? Is he not a top of rotation pitcher? Is he more I don't know, but I was definitely surprised it was the Astros. I was surprised that the Cubs didn't get this guy. But I guess it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, look, he's a talented pitcher. Now and we're gonna walk through this exercise, trust me. And he isn't the end all be all, right?
Right.
This isn't like our off season is over if we didn't get Tatsuya Imai.
Right.
I feel like Dylan Cease is a more talented pitcher.
Agreed.
I'm going to walk through a list of some pitchers that Fangraphs seems to believe are going to have better seasons than Imai next year that are still on the market that the Cubs can sign. The only thing about the money is I'm with you that we started reading the tea leaves, and we said it last week on the show that the $100 million thing wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So I think maybe the disappointing aspect for Cubs fans is that this seems to be right in that little area where it isn't an exorbitant pay. So why couldn't the Cubs get it done? You can make a lot of rationalizations, right? Like obviously the easiest one is, did you know in Texas there's no state income tax? Like there's the first one, right? The second one was the opt-out after the first year where Imai can re-enter the market. The Cubs weren't willing to do that. They wanted a 2-year commitment, which frankly makes some sense because part of the position that they put themselves into with Boyd, Tyone, Justin Steele's only 2 years away, but Shota, they have 3 of their starting pitchers entering free agency next year, and maybe they weren't comfortable having 4 of them, right? I can wrap my head around that. The other one was the escalators in the deal, where there were a lot of incentives that were baked in with 80 innings, 90 innings, and 100 innings for Imai where he can make a little bit more money. And at the end of the day, all that talk, no offense, about a guy that I haven't watched pitch yet, but all that talk about Imai being like, hey, I want to go out there and I want to beat the Dodgers. Okay.
Right.
You're in the American League now, right? So some of that was posturing, right? I appreciated the competitiveness factor of it, but it seemed like a player who allowed his agent to get the best deal, and then the agent explained to him, this is how we're extracting the most money optimally out of this situation that you have. And it looks like he chose the Houston Astros. Could the Cubs have gone a little bit deeper into the waters? Sure. But I've also gotten information that there are a lot of people in the Cubs front office were split on Imai, right? And we're going to have to look back on this and say, maybe they were wrong, maybe they were right, but there were some people that thought that he could be a top-of-the-line guy, 27 years old, the right kind of investment to make right now at the Chicago Cubs. And the other one was maybe a little bit more worried that he's a little bit more in the middle, maybe a little bit more worried that the control that had kind of been harnessed by Imai over the last year was going to go back up and he was going to start walking guys again. So it's frustrating, right? Because you see more of these deals go by the wayside and the Cubs not landing them.
Yeah.
But Tatsuya Imai, I just can't sit here and say the Cubs whiffed on this one, Justin, because we truly haven't seen the player. And his market went from 180 million to 60 million. How do you make sense of that?
The Cubs weren't the only team that maybe soured on Imai. And again, I stand by the fact of like, I understand there's a big pocket of the social media world that thinks the Cubs are cheap, thinks the Ricketts are cheap. I don't think this was a money thing. I really, really don't. Again, I'll say it again. Why didn't the Phillies grab this guy? Why didn't the Mets grab this guy? Why didn't every other team grab this guy? Because this contract seems to be very beatable. It was, I think, the opt-out after every year, including year one. You're paying a posting fee, and then you're also maybe losing the guy after 1 year. There's a lot of different things that go into this situation. And again, I think that maybe the information that you and I had, where I thought he was going to be a number 2. I thought it was going to be Horton and Imai. I thought he was that high up in our rotation. Maybe baseball didn't look at him that way. Maybe I was crazy. Maybe. Yeah, he throws hard, but maybe they didn't project him to be a top-of-the-line starter. And you're seeing the money. Sure as hell wasn't top-of-the-line starter. So, I was shocked by the Astros. Again, I didn't see their name pop up anywhere, so I was shocked about that. It reminds me to let people know you can't believe everything you read. No one truly, truly knows until it happens. Am I heartbroken about this situation? I am not. I did want him. I wanted Cease or I wanted Imai. Joey, you alluded to it earlier. I'm sure we're going to go through a list. There are many other options out there that we can grab via free agency and or trade. We had a little pre-meeting before our show here, and I know, our producer Sarah is a little bummed out about her viewpoint on where the season's going. I want to remind everybody, it's about who we get before opening day. It's not about who we have on January 2nd. It's about the roster before opening day. I saw Brendan actually put out, I think we have $35 million more before the first luxury tax tier, and they're not going to not spend that. So listen, they've revamped their bullpen. I feel really good about their bullpen. I do feel like a big move is coming, whether it's Alex Bregman, whether it's a big trade, whether it's a Framber Valdez. I don't know what that is. I thought it was Imai. It's not, but there are other big moves out there to be made, and this is not the team you will have on opening day. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, look, we're going to take a break here on CHGO Cubs. On the other side of the break and jump into the chat too as well. We're going to talk about those possible replacements of Tatsuya Imai. If it's not him, I believe wholeheartedly as a Cubs fan that it's got to be someone. So who is that going to be? Jump in the chat. Let's talk it out. You're watching the CHGO Cubs podcast. We're going to hear from some of our wonderful partners. This episode is presented by Toyota, but let's first take a break. Hey, Cubs fans, Toyotathon is on right now, so get your Toyota while the getting is good. Me, personally, I've been driving Toyotas my whole life. The Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry. For all those young, aspiring drivers out there, there is nothing better than a durable Toyota to put all your friends in and go out and explore the world. Those suckers go up to 180,000 miles and are still running great. I absolutely love Toyota in my life. And right now, you can score even more value on the versatile RAV4. It's America's #1 selling vehicle, or you could ride in style with the Tacoma, the rugged weekend warrior. Or you can even hit the road with Camry. My guy, Camry's available all-wheel drive. Right now, there are red-hot savings, and they are ready for you at Toyotathon. So visit your Toyota dealer today. Remember, Toyota, let's go places, whether it is that Camry, RAV4, Tacoma, Corolla, whatever it is, Toyota, you know they're going to get you in style and they're going to get you in safety. Let's also talk about another one of our wonderful partners, and they are so timely right now because winter is here, right? And is your home up for the heating challenge? You got a plumbing emergency right now? Remember, you got to call Four Seasons. An electrical emergency, you call Four Seasons. You need a new hot water tank installed today. What do? You call Four Seasons. Right now, it's the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. Thinking about a whole home generator, they got you covered. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays. And right now, you can save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Furnaces, $39 a month. Furnace AC combos, $57 a month. Call today and save $50 from your trusted local experts. They've been serving the Chicagoland area for over 50 years. So remember, it's Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical generators. Four Seasons Heatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's Four Seasons Heatingcooling.com. Coming back here on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Thank you so much for joining. All the people that are in the live chat right now, like the video. Subscribe to the channel, whether you're watching on CHGO Sports or CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Is a 100 free. Per our conversation on the other side, before we move forward, the part that continues to worry me about how the Cubs do business is I'm going to use other people's words, and then I want to use the word that I would like to hear more often. Other people use a lot of words like it's out of the Cubs' comfort zone. There's interest. They engaged in talks. There were discussions, but it didn't happen. The word that I'm not hearing enough of, and this is where I'm going to be critical of how this offseason is going right now, is, Justin, I just don't hear the word conviction enough, okay? We're in on all these guys, and then we can't land them. I understand that you want to canvass the free agent market, talk to a lot of different guys, see if a value of a player matches up with a value of a contract. You can bring him in. I get all that. But just the last time I checked, and we're doing a 10-year anniversary on it in a couple weeks at CubsCon, is that when they wanted to get, there you go, when they wanted to get Ben Zobrist, they went out and got Ben Zobrist. It's right. Is what I'm getting here. And the analogy that I just keep using with how they keep valuing these contracts, in my opinion, is sometimes when we talk about that comfort zone, sometimes you need to let conviction rule out the day. And I've used this analogy before, but it's almost as if, like, imagine to get to a World Series takes about 4 gallons of gas. And you walk into a gas station and you set down $10 because that's what you have put a value on. Is we've crunched all the numbers in our lab here, and we think that 4 gallons of gas costs $10. You put $10 down, and the cashier goes, I hate to break it to you, but $10 only gets you 3 gallons of gas. And you go, wait a second, my valuation was at 4 gallons. And they go, well, guess what? It's the market. You live in reality and you live in society, and that only gets you 3 gallons. So what either ends up happening is, unfortunately, maybe you get cheaper gas that can ruin the engine of your car, or you only buy that 3 gallons of gas with that $10, even though you know you have the 15 to get the 4, and you don't get to where you want to go, Justin, which is the World Series. That is my fear. It's not a prognostication right now, but when they put a valuation on these deals to maybe not stretch a little bit to have conviction to get the guy that you want. I'm worried that we're going to end up holding the bag maybe with some players that weren't exactly high on their priority list.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. Listen, and Joey, I want to address a couple of people in the chat that are very adamant about that I'm making excuses for the Cubs and the Ricketts. I promise you, I am not. If this is the team that they field opening day, I will be pissed. Okay, I'm just saying that as of right now, there is obviously a different plan that we don't know about. Yes, they wanted Imai. It sounds like they were in on it. Maybe they didn't want to go a certain level. Maybe he just chose to. I don't know what happened. But would you be mad if we ended up trading for like Cabrera from the Marlins and he was your stud pitcher you got? Would you be mad if we traded for like Mackenzie Gore? Would you be mad if it was Framber Valdez? Like, I know we talked about different character issues, but like, very talented pitcher. Like, I don't know what it's going to be, but just people in the chat, I promise you, I am not making excuses for the Cubs or Tom Ricketts. I will be the first one, and you can clip this. I'll be the first one to say on opening day, if this is the team, I will be pissed. The 10-year anniversary of our World Series, this is not a World Series team right now. But again, guys, if we have like an estimated $35 million left before that first tier, I don't think this is the end of it. I almost guarantee this is not the end of our offseason. And there's still more time and trades and signings to be had. So I'm not making excuses, but just, it's tough because I've said it before. Baseball free agency goes on forever. So it's like we could have these shows every single day and it's almost sound like a broken record. But again, until I see the opening day roster, I cannot judge this team because this team today is not going to be the team on opening day.
Well, what I think I'm hearing from you, Justin, is that like, look, there's a big difference between panic and urgency, right? I think you are feeling a sense of urgency. You are not panicking yet about this offseason, which is very fair, which leads us into our segment for the day. Let's take the temp right now. Taking the temp presented by Four Seasons. It's Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Make sure you visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their money-saving offers and special saving coupons. So the taking the temp was, I had to, Tatsuya Imai wasn't going to, make or break my off season, but I had to sip on a little copium just a little bit to get through it because I was upset, especially when you saw the number come in that it was, oh, wow, it was less money than you got for Shota and Managa, or pretty much the exact same amount. Cubs probably would have liked that. Not going to happen, right? So you teased it a little bit. I just wanted to bring up, I started looking at some of the other guys out there on the market. And look, this isn't an end-all, be-all by any stretch of the imagination. But when you go to Fangraphs and when you start looking at the steamer projections for next year, and I just want to stick solely on WAR right now, wins above replacement. If you look at it right now, Fangraphs, and maybe this because they don't know the player, maybe they don't know how he's going to translate, which is probably why his market maybe got as murky as it did. Yeah. Fangraphs right now has Tatsuya Imai with a 1.8 WAR next year. Following that up, the players that have a better WAR or better opportunity for a projected WAR per Fangraphs: Edward Cabrera, 2.1. Nick Martinez, 2.3. Zac Gallen, 2.5. Ranger Suarez, 3.3. Framber Valdez, 3.5. So I know that that's just one stat. But if you look at that type of projection and you want to believe that that projection sometimes is a predictor of future production for this year, there are pitchers out there that Fangraphs believes are going to have a more productive year next year. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, I want to get your take on it. I think at this point right now, I think the move is Zac Gallen. Okay. I think they need to kick the tires. I think they need to accelerate that, and I think they need to get that done. Framber Valdez would be really nice. He by far is by WAR, and I think by eye test, I think he's perhaps the best pitcher still out there in the market. Ranger Suarez, there's some injury stuff that worries me. Edward Cabrera is going to cost prospects in a prospect farm system that ranks 20th in Major League Baseball with the Cubs. Justin, I think Zac Gallen is the guy now. He's 30 years old. I think that's the move that the Cubs need to make. I don't think it's going to be a 4 or 5 year deal. I think it can be a 3-year deal, maybe even more of a true 2-year deal with a 3rd-year team option, club option, whatever that is. But I think Zac Gallen is now the pitcher that the Cubs should turn to. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that Twitter would go crazy if that's our big acquisition. It's confusing because Zac Gallen for a good stretch was actually a really, really, really good pitcher. I believe Cy Young candidate at some point too. I mean, so yeah, it's fine. And I think it would make our rotation better than it is today. 1,000%. I'm still hopeful for a big swing, and this is where maybe I'm optimistic here, where it's Alex Bregman, and then you're trading for someone like Cabrera or Gore, or whoever it is, or maybe it is Valdez, and then you're trading for some pop, or I know you've held out hope for maybe it's a reuniting with Kyle Tucker. Who knows? But Zac Gallen's fine, but I just feel like in my heart, I want a bigger swing. And I feel like the Cubs are well equipped money-wise and prospect-wise to do a bigger swing. So, if it's Gallen and they do make a trade for some other pop or whatever, I need to see the totality of the offseason to know whether I am just okay or really happy with someone like Zac Gallen. I just think in my heart, my gut tells me it's going to be a bigger swing than that.
Yeah, Gary in the chat here says Gallen with the qualifying offer, Joey. No way they do that. Well, yes, way they can do that, Gary, because Tucker declined his qualifying offer, dude. So we can't play this game. I understand that the qualifying offer means draft compensation. I totally get it. But if you're saying that you're getting draft compensation for Kyle Tucker, who to this point no one believes is going to be coming back to the Chicago Cubs, we'll be getting that draft compensation, and then it'll be a neutral net for Zac Gallen. Okay, like we can't keep doing this. We can't do it over and over again where they need to have everything. And frankly, forgive me for a second, outside of the first round of drafts, the Cubs are not good at drafting players. They have a lot of work to do when it comes to the development of a young team. So I just can't say we're going to spend money on a player that maybe we don't like or command a whole bunch of dollars towards somebody just because the qualifying offer is going to get in our way. I just don't think that that's the smart business when you already know you're getting draft compensation back with Kyle Tucker. The thing that I like about Zac Gallen, I will say, and Justin, you're 100% right. Like from 2022 to 2024, dude has a record of 43-19 with a 3.22 ERA.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
350-ish in 23 and 24 combined. He pitched 100 plus 80 innings 3 of the last 4 years. And if you look around to it, like I'm not going to get into all the stuff here because if we sign him, then I'll do all the baseball savant stuff and everything. But again, his numbers are very similar to projected to what Tatsuya Imai is. 4.25 ERA for Gallen, 4.29 for Imai. K9 rate, 8.57 for Gallen, 8.51 for Imai. I mean, the walk rate is better for Gallen than it would be for Imai because they don't know if he's going to be able to trust he's going to be okay. I mean, and also it was a really weird up and down year. And I can't, out of two sides of my mouth, say I don't care about Dylan Cease's ERA and then also say I care about Zac Gallen's ERA. Right. Yes, the home run bug got to him. Yes, his ERA was 4.81. But if you look at it, 15 of his 33 starts were 4+ runs. 12 of his 33 starts were 6+ innings and 2 or fewer runs. So he was on or he was off. He was up and down. He was hot and cold. And I'm in agreement, at least with Gary, that if Gallen wants an opt-out after 1 year, I don't know where he's getting that money. I don't think he's going anywhere that you'd consider a contender. I think everyone's going to want at least a 2-year commitment from him. And I would think about doing that. The thing is, with Framber Valdez and Ranger Suarez, would you say, Justin, between Suarez, Valdez, and Gallen, which one would you probably have the most question marks about if the Cubs were to sign them to a multi-year deal?
Just pure talent, the one I'm most confident in is Valdez. Just pure talent, Valdez for me is the guy. I do have character concerns because of that horrible thing he did to his catcher this past season. And I'm a baseball lifer. I've played the game my whole life. And that's a no-no, man. That's a turn your back on your team kind of thing that I hate. But if we're going on just, and maybe it was a mistake, maybe it was a lack. Listen, we've all made mistakes. I'm not perfect. Joey, you're not perfect. Only one perfect here is Luke, but he's not here. But anyways, my point is that no one's perfect. Maybe it was a really bad lapse in judgment. But I think if we're going on talent alone, I'm most confident in Valdez. I think, who am I least confident in? I kind of feel like I'm least confident in Suarez, actually.
Injury stuff.
Yeah.
He's had back stuff. He's had elbow stuff. I mean, I get it. It's hard to find someone that's going to go 32 to the bump every time, every single year. But also the fastball command. His profile is very similar to Shota, very similar to Boyd, also kind of similar to Justin Steele. So he's really good, but I'm wondering about Ranger Suarez. Would there a redundancy factor come in a 3-game series if the same team saw Boyd, Shota, and Ranger Suarez? Would they be able to lock in on something? And would that put us a little bit at a disadvantage? Before we take to a break, I want to bring Sarah in here.
Okay.
Sarah, come on in here for a second. She wants to weigh in on Imai and what's happening next, because it's something that all Cubs fans are thinking of right now. Let's see if she does come in. Maybe not. Oh, here we go. Yes, there we go.
What do you need, Joey?
Well, where are you on Tatsuya Imai right now? Are you upset that the Cubs let him off the hook and didn't reel him in? Do you think that it's okay, or do you think it's a larger issue of what's going on with the Cubs this offseason, of how they can't get a deal done?
I mean, my biggest thing is pitching. I also care about third base, but my biggest thing is pitching. Did I want him? Yes. Of course I wanted him, but we didn't get him. And I think we're going to have a big move. I think I'm with Justin on that, in the sense, like, I'm not worried that we're not going to sign someone that, like, we'll eventually be happy with. Cubs fans are always upset this time of year. I mean, the season's so far away, and the off season's so long, and free agency is so long. And so it's like, it just sucks though, because these top players, like, we're not going to get, so we're kind of going to like the second tier, but that's not like bad. So I don't know. I mean, it's, again, I think opening day is obviously the deadline for everything. So it's like, as long as there is a replacement for like Tucker, and then we do have like people for pitching, because I don't really, also I have a whole opinion about Justin Steele too. I'm like not the most excited. Like, I want him back 100%. But I'm very hesitant because he's been injured for 2 years now. So there's a whole side to that too. So I want fresh new pitching. So yes, I mean, it is what it is. I am hopeful though.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Sarah. I mean, like, I love Justin Steele too, but if Cubs fans think that he's going to come back and automatically beat Justin Steele, I just think that's a little presumptive.
And I'll tell you, I like our pitching now too. Like, Cade Horton is someone, like, super, super excited about him. Matthew Boyd, love him. Like, so but obviously we need more. So it's like, we have good pitching now. We just have to add to it.
Guys, I mean, and Joey, I've said that I would be okay with the Zac Gallen signing, right? This is a great comment, and I'm assuming he's giving actual stats here, but Gallen in the past 3 seasons has had a 3.20 ERA, with a 3.22 FIP and a 131 ERA plus. If that's the guy you get, that's a real frontline starter. Like there is a great pitcher in Zac Gallen, and it feels like he's coming off an off year. You know, maybe there's a bounce back in there, because it's not like he was great in 2019 and we're banking on it. It's like he was great 2 years ago. So I say it's okay, but because I kind of hoping for like a bigger splash, if you will. But man, I mean, he would make our rotation better, no doubt.
Yeah, at this point now, when you're starting to look around, you're like, oh, we need to start figuring stuff out here. And Zac Gallen all of a sudden is starting to look kind of nice a little bit. It sort of feels like the kid who can't clean up his room before the family comes over around the holidays, and they're like, just make sure it's done before the family gets here. And you're like, I don't know, is this room going to get clean? Right. I'm hoping a prayer right now. We're over the break. We got to take a break really quick here. On the other side, talking more Imai, talking more pitching, talking more trading. What's going to happen with Bregman. So stick around. Do not go anywhere. Jump in the chat. Taking a quick break to talk to our wonderful sponsors right here on the CHGO Cubs Podcast, presented by Toyota. Hey, Cubs fans, our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary, they are here for you to elevate your football season and your soon-to-be spring training season. Sunnyside, it's your home for judgment-free shopping. Right now, they have a crazy selection of over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside, they got a location for you. So if you're as far south as Champaign or as far north as South Beloit, you can stop into their store nearest you today for expert guidance from their expert staff. Or if you don't want to leave the house right now, head to their website for Bright Buys every day, because there you can get up to 50% off your first 3 online purchases only when you use promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Or if you're a returning customer, make sure you use that promo code for CHGO 504. Also some great offers as well. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Dispensary. Remember, it's Bright Buys every single day, but you must be 21 plus or older, or be a Illinois medical card holder. And coming up next, we want to talk about our wonderful partners at Game Day Men's Health. Now, look, as of this taping right now, I turn 42 tomorrow, okay? I got to start watching my body about the inside, not just on the outside. And that's what Game Day Men's Health is there for you. They came into our office and they were so helpful and informative. So if I want to maybe lose a couple of pounds during this soft little winter that I'm having, Game Day Men's Health is going to help me out, because whether it's peak performance or becoming a better father, better husband, better man, better podcaster, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care that are tailored to their goals. Very easy, quick process, and you'll be in and out in an hour, they promise. Personal care, family, local-owned clinics everywhere across the Chicagoland and the suburban area. Extremely high success rate, and you'll feel better and have more energy. Whether it's testosterone, vitamin supplements, weight loss, hair loss treatments, they've got you covered. So start your best life in 2026 with Game Day Men's Health. Scan the QR code below or go to the screen to go to GameDayCHGO.com right now to find a location that is closest to you.
Welcome back to the CHGO Cubs Podcast, presented by Toyota. Guys, something really, really funny just happened during this little commercial break, and I'm really glad it didn't happen on camera, because it may have been like a blooper that I could never live down for the rest of my life. I'm sitting here, and I felt something hit my head really hard, and I thought my house collapsed. I'm like, what? My background is like a canvas painting, a canvas picture, and it just all of a sudden, boom, and it hit my head, and I'm like, oh, it scared the hell out of me. And I'm really glad we didn't have that on camera, because that may have been like one of my worst moments ever on camera. So provide a little comedic relief right now. I just had a really funny blooper happen during the commercial break.
I'm just, this offseason isn't falling apart yet. It's not falling apart yet.
Boom.
but right on there. So take all of Justin's takes for the rest of the show in advisement, because he just got knocked on the head a little bit.
Yeah.
So if he starts saying,
I just heard we're trading for Shohei Ohtani. It's a fact. I'm telling you. Yeah, I got a concussion.
We should bring back Carlos Zambrano. Okay, Justin.
Right.
Little more stuff on this pitching stuff, and then I promise we're going to move on, because I definitely want to talk about some Bregman. Because there is a piece of news right now, and maybe the Bregman market is heating up in the next couple of days, and it has a lot to do also with Kazuma Okamoto's got to have to make a decision, I believe, by Sunday. My final one was, and while you were getting knocked in the noggin during the break, I was thinking about this too, and here's my final pitch for why I think Zac Gallen now it needs to be the move for the Cubs moving forward. To be very clear, and if people have watched this show before, thank you so much for coming back, but I will tell you, I wasn't a huge Zac Gallen guy when the offseason started, right? Me and you, we were like Cease and Schwarber, let's go. They decided not to do that. That's fine. Yeah. But this is the point where we're at right now, where you have to say, are you willing to do 5 years for $160 million for Framber Valdez? Are you willing to do $100 million on probably a 4-year deal for Ranger Suarez? Other than that, it turns into Nick Martinez, Lucas Giolito territory. I personally don't want any piece of that at all. Oh. So Zac Gallen isn't going to cost you $100. And you brought up something too, where in 2023, the dude was bringing in Cy Young votes. And in 2022, he was absolutely fantastic with an ERA of 2.54. Wrap your head around this, Justin. Could Zac Gallen possibly be the Cody Bellinger of this offseason? Could Zac Gallen also possibly be a version of like a Jameson Taillon? So here's what I mean by those two things. The first one is Zac Gallen is Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, when he signed with the Cubs, he got, he won the MVP, and he was so good a couple of years ago. And if we can get him back to a facsimile of that version, we'll be in great shape. And that's exactly what happened with Cody Bellinger. He came back here and rebuilt his market. And then when you talk about Jameson Taillon, what do we talk about all the time? Just an innings eater, a guy that goes out and gives you a steady, solid effort every single time. So what if Zac Gallen could be one of those two things? What if Zac Gallen did last year have the season from hell, had a 4.81 ERA, had never given up, I believe, more than 23 home runs in a season. That jumped to 31. There's a lot of numbers that I would do in more detail if we signed him about his knuckle curve being one of his best pitches. And all of a sudden that knuckle curve going from a slugging percentage of 234 to 438 last year. If he can just even cut that in half, he's in business again. Could Zac Gallen possibly be, Justin, that Cody Bellinger guy that you can bring in and reclaim and rehab and maybe not be a top of the end starter, but get back to being that above average BB plus guy that he was in 22, 23, and 24.
Absolutely. Because again, recent bias, fine, he didn't have a great year last year, but like the year before that he did. And before, so like recently he's been really, really good. I like Joseph's Crosdale's, I probably pronounced his last name wrong. His comment's really good.
Toyota super chat here.
Yep. Gallen is a F-150. Sorry. I'm a country guy. I should know that. Gallen is a F-150. He isn't sexy now, but he is a workhorse and gets the job done. He bounces back and dang, we get a great deal. That's kind of your Cody Bellinger analogy right there, where like Cody Bellinger was a really, really good player. Then he kind of slid and whatever happened to him, but then he came back for us and we signed him. He was great. It was a great deal, great bounce back. Again, I know I said it was be an okay signing. He would make our team better. He would make our rotation better. There is no doubt in my mind. I just feel like there's a bigger move there. And it might be Bregman. It might be Valdez. It might be a combination of one of those two and a trade. I know someone earlier in the chat said trades come out of nowhere a lot of times. You don't even get like, boom, here's like nobody thought we were getting Kyle Tucker last year. Like that wasn't like a rumor, right? It was also like, oh my God, we got Kyle Tucker. Crazy. So, I want to see the full offseason play out. I know people are mad about Imai, but I guarantee one thing. I guarantee Jed's got options from A, B, C. We might be on option D or E right now, but there are options. And I just kind of want to see them all before I jump on great team or, oh man, we took a step backwards.
Yeah, and Shane Newbanks in the chat always has great comments. Shane, thank you so much. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for coming in the chat. Tired of having the let's fix him guys. We are the GD Chicago Cubs. Go get some damn stars. Shane, you've been in the show before. You've been in the chat, dude. We agree with you, man. I don't. Here's the thing, right? Is we're sitting here doing shows, and I'm like Kyle Schwarber, banging the table, and everyone's like, forget it, dude. You're wasting your breath. It's like, all right, well, what's on the other side of that, right? And we are now on the other side, where some of these guys, the impact players of this free agent class, it's starting to dry up a little bit, Justin. Like for me personally, the ones that are of value to me for the Cubs that can help them win next year are Framber Valdez, Zac Gallen, Alex Bregman, Bo Bichette, Eugenio Suarez, Ranger Suarez, Kyle Tucker, and Cody Bellinger. So look, like I'm with you, Shane, but also at the same time, I think the Cubs should come back to the table and talk to Kyle Tucker, right? Like imagine a scenario, and no one's going to like this because everyone's going to go, oh, it's never going to happen. Why are you wasting your breath? Like, all right, well, I'm speaking into existence here. What if the Cubs were able to come to agreement on a short-term deal with Kyle Tucker that allows him to have opt-outs or whatever after 2 years, 3 years, and then they go out and they trade Owen Casey for that starting pitcher that you want.
Right.
And all of a sudden we have the exact same offense as we did last year, hopefully with either Owen Casey or Moises Ballesteros still on the team. Maybe not both of them. We'll see what happens. And you go out and you trade for that starter, and all of a sudden you're a better baseball team. Okay, so I get it about us being, Tucker is a star. I'm with you, Shane. I'm with you, man. So this is kind of where we're sitting at right now. And the idea is the thought exercise, Justin, is we have to try and figure out a way to get this Cubs team as impactful and as good as we possibly can before spring training as fans. Whether they're going to do that or not is not up to us, but that's the driving focus here.
You're not wrong about Kyle Tucker, but I also say Alex Bregman for me is very similar, where it's like if they were to sign Bregman, I think you're going to see a trade happen to get a Cabrera or a Joe Ryan or a pitcher. So it's like, fine, we didn't sign the free agent pitcher, but we signed Bregman, which frees up some other assets to go get the pitcher. I do think there's two moves here. I think one is just money, and I think one is a trade. So listen, there are plenty of options for both out there. I can't forget I can't remember how long ago it was. Me, you, and Luke were talking about the free agent pitching availability this year. And, we had talked about Dylan Cease. We had talked about Framber Valdez, and we all had Valdez very high from a talent standpoint. We were just concerned about his character, right? So, like, again, isn't it the worst thing in the world if you wake up next Monday and the Cubs have signed Valdez to a 5-year deal? Like, he makes your team a lot better. And he's your 1-2 with Kate Horton. So, I'm not saying they're going to do that, but there are still options out there. And again, to the chat, I am not defending Tom Ricketts or the Cubs or Jed Hoyer. I'm just saying, let's wait till like March 1st before we label them incompetent, because there are still moves out there. There's the old cliche about there's, many ways to skin a cat. Like there are many ways to make this team a World Series or at least a championship caliber ball club. Let's just see if we get there before we start attacking and anointing this offseason as horrible.
Yeah, and Gary has a good point here in the chat. The relationship seems to have soiled. I think he's referencing Kyle Tucker and the Cubs. I think you know what can mend that a lot? Money and guaranteed years. Yeah. I'm willing to go to bat that if I was to hypothesize or psychologize like what happened between the two teams, is a guy that was trying to earn a $400 million contract who got hurt. The Cubs were in a pennant race, and the two of them just couldn't get on the same communication of what was the best method to get him as healthy as possible when the player also wanted to play through the injury, which is not a knock on Kyle Tucker. You want players that are like, hey, man, strap it up. You know what I mean? Like whatever, duct tape, I'm going out there, I'm playing for you. But it became a detriment to the team. And I feel like that the communication levels, that's where it went sideways. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. If Kyle Tucker is under contract for at least the next 2 years, he knows that his home is here. He knows that he is paid. I think a lot of that can get cleaned up, even though I agree with you, Gary, that I do think that it went sideways. One more break here. Talking Bregman on the other side of the break. It's the CHGO Cubs podcast. The chat's been awesome today, so keep it coming. Joey Christopoulos with Justin Roman. Let's talk to some of our wonderful partners here, and we'll see you on the other side of the break on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. All right, Cubs fans, let's think big in 2026, and let's talk about your next weekend escape, or maybe just your next big night out, because it's Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. They got everything that you need in one spot. We are talking thousands of the latest slots and table games. Are you ready to refuel right now after a stressful holiday season? They've got a ton of amazing restaurants and bars to choose from, and whether you're feeling fancy, whether you want a quick little bite, they've got you covered. And here's the best part about Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. You don't even have to leave the property if you don't want to. You can stay in style at their luxury hotel, just steps away from what many call the Midwest's best sports book. So if you're heading to a Bucks game this winter, or you want to check out the Bulls when they play the Bucks, start your day right at Potawatomi, hit the sports book, then head out to the game. It's all right there. It's super convenient. Milwaukee's got a full winter lineup. Concerts, festivals, sports, you name it, they got it. It's Potawatomi. It's the perfect home base for all of it. Potawatomi Casino in Milwaukee. Your win is waiting right now, so go check it out. Speaking of winning right now, whatever the moment, you know what it is. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, they've got the early NFL payout offer. So on Sunday, Chicago Bears and Lions. The Bears go up by 17 points. You are an instant winner on payouts on straight bets and parlay selections. Really, any NFL team that goes up by 17 points, that's the early payout offer. So download the app today and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. And you can also double your winnings on parlays with Bet365. 100% parlay boost only when you use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. So remember, code CHGO365. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5. You get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses, and that's good on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. Rounding third, heading home here on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman. Two comments that made me really laugh during the break. Johnny Waterize, good to see you in the chat, man. Every offseason, it's a photo finish, and the Cubs are photoshopped out of it. Followed up by Corey Seacrest going, it's a photo finish, and the Cubs are one taking the photo. Dynamite. I think that was a great 1-2 combo. We're coming back here real quick. Justin, nothing fell on your head during this last break?
I've secured the canvas background, and I'm safe. Thank you for all your thoughts and prayers, but I'm safe now. Thank you.
Your Twitter handle's blowing up right now with "Are you okay?" Right. So let's bring it home. We talked a lot of pitching. Let's get a little hitting in here. Now that Tatsuya Imai has signed, all of a sudden we're hearing from Buster Olney that the Boston Red Sox have a 5-year, $160 million deal with incentives and all sorts of stuff baked into it for Alex Bregman right now. How convenient that all of a sudden we have numbers being thrown out there, because I think Boris wants to start accelerating the market for Alex Bregman. I've been pretty steadfast on it all off season. And trying to be as rational as I can about this. Of course, high on my list was Kyle Schwarber. Of course, yes, I think it's stupid that we wouldn't still talk to Kyle Tucker. But my mandate, my belief is that the one in the middle, the one that makes the most sense, is I think the Chicago Cubs need to sign Alex Bregman. My question for you, Justin, 5 years, 160. How do you think that sits with you, and how do you think that sits with the Cubs?
I mean, it's the price for a superstar, right? I mean, it's one of those things where it doesn't matter if we think it's an overpay or what. It's like if Jed thought that was too pricey and offered something lower than that, he'd be crucified. So you kind of like, you want the guy, you got to beat whoever the highest offer is, So I do think Alex Bregman is interesting, because I don't think you're signing Alex Bregman to just have a bunch of infielders. And you've heard Nico Horner trade rumors for a while now and all these different things. So I do wonder if Bregman's the guy they want and Bregman's the guy they go after, what happens at that point. I've been clear about, I don't think Matt Shaw is getting traded. I think Matt Shaw is the future. So would they sign Bregman and keep everybody and Matt Shaw becomes super utility? Or would they sign Bregman and trade Nico Horner and some prospects to get that controllable starter? I don't know. But, I mean, your team is better to have Alex Bregman on it than not. So, I would like that. Interesting also is that Bo Bichette's name has been brought up recently as well, linked to the Cubs. And that's also interesting because, we have a shortstop, obviously. Is Bo Bichette, if he would come here, is he a second baseman? Is he a third baseman? I don't know. But, like, those names are being linked to the Cubs. Oh man, so many ways to fit a puzzle here. I'm very curious to see what Jed has in mind here, but I don't know. How do you feel about that Bregman number?
So the 5 for 160 is definitely in line with where the Cubs were at last year for the most part, when they offered him 4 years for $120 million. I think that's ultimately, I think the 5 for 160 is ultimately what Bregman wants to get. I will say that there have only been a few select players like Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, and Dylan Cease that have gotten exactly what they've wanted out of their offseason. I don't know if Bregman's in that category. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. I don't know if Bo Bichette's in that category either. And it's not because I think of him differently as a player. He's an incredibly impressive offensive player. And he immediately makes us really dangerous. And he's 27 years old. And you could start talking yourself into him and PCA and Michael Busch as 3 guys that you can really start building an offensive core around in the years to come.
Matt Shaw as well.
And Matt Shaw too. Well, yeah, depending on what they decide to do. The thing with Bo Bichette is, one, everyone says that he's going to be a $200 million player. I just don't know what team that is right now. I'm not saying this that I have information on it personally. I'm just speculating that he could also be a guy now that maybe turns into a 1-year prove it guy. I can think of worse things on the planet if Jed wants to keep rolling over this big time bat in the Cubs lineup when he did it. Cody Bellinger year 1, Cody Bellinger year 2, Kyle Tucker year 3. If that's Bo Bichette year 4, I can wrap my head around that pretty quickly. And I'll just say, we see in the chat, and we see a lot of the discourse online, is this whole defense thing, dude. Okay, look, he's not great on defense. I understand that. But at some point, a lot of these teams don't have Gold Glove players at every single position. Okay? The Cubs are an anomaly, an outlier of Ian Happ is a Gold Glover. PCA is a Gold Glover. Dansby Swanson is a Gold Glover. Matt Shaw is a Gold Glove finalist. Nico Horner is a Gold Glover. I think at some point Michael Busch is going to be a Gold Glove finalist. It's just like, all right, we do have a lot of that, and it's great. You can put some people that are a little more deficient on this team if they're going to be proficient in areas that you are not.
Right.
Hitting 290, driving in 100 runs, and hitting 35 RBIs. If we can live with Seiya Suzuki, I think we can live with Bo Bichette. The other one is, my speculation would be, if he were to sign with the Cubs, I think he'd play third base, because I think either way, if it was Bo Bichette and you had to trade Nico Horner, again, that's the buying the car to sell the dog thing that I'm not super excited about or into, of we have to move Bo Bichette to second base, because I'm not all about that. So, I mean, personally, like, I just don't think they have the stomach for the money in the years with Bo Bichette. I think they can wrap their head around and get a little bit more of a cost certainty with Alex Bregman, even though he is a little bit older. I understand that maybe the power will probably wane as the years go on a little bit, but man, Alex Bregman gives you a really professional at bat every time up there. But again, these are interesting options to have. I just think Alex Bregman's more realistic for the Cubs than Bo Bichette, even though, to be fair, the Cubs have pined after Bo Bichette, it seems like every offseason for the last few years.
And if I could just say an aside right here, I hate this new trend in baseball free agency with the opt-outs and with the one, like I crave the old school, like commit to a player for 5, 6, 7 years. I want to buy his jersey. I want to like fall in love with this guy over and over again. I personally hate Bregman did a 3 or 4 year deal last year with opt-outs, and he opted out year 1. And now we go through it all over again. I wish there was a guy, I wish there were multiple guys that were like, I want to, like Kyle Schwarber. All right. He put his foot down and said, listen, I'm going to stay in Philadelphia for what? I think 5 years. Like, I love that. I want you to commit to my team, and then the fan base and me will commit to you. I just hate this new trend of opt-outs and 1 year deal. It's like, let me and my family root for the player for 5, 6, 7 years. And I don't know. That's my old school mentality, I guess.
Yeah, look, and I think what's fair about that is the multi-year deal and the 1 year opt-out. Got to clean that up a little bit, right? And I think we're in an era right now, and baseball, trust me, is going to tackle it in a very probably ugly way a year from now when they have labor negotiations. I'm on board if you said we had an opportunity, if Juan Soto was back on the market right now, and we had the only way we'd get Juan Soto is if we gave him a 12-year deal with an opportunity for him to opt out after the 4th year. That's when I think opt-outs make sense. I am all on for player freedom. I think the opt-out after 1 year is definitely strange, Justin, right? I mean, at that point, like, why don't you just make it a team option or a club option or whatever? Yeah. But as we're seeing, there's a lot of complicated things that are being introduced into baseball, whether it's deferrals, whether it's the creative nature that the Cubs seem to like to get into of like, well, if you decline your player option, we have a club option, and if you decide the club option, we can give you the qualifying offer, but if you take the player option, it kicks into 2. There's a lot of different ways that they're trying to get creative to make the money work. I understand all of that, but at the same time, I'm with you, man. The 1 year opt-outs are not fun. I do think that a player after 2 or 3 years, if they wanted to go out and test the market and get a new deal, that's fine with me. But again, Justin, I don't think, how many more 10-year contracts do you think we're really going to see over the next 5 years, right? Like, I think Skeens and Tarek Skubal probably will get somewhere between a 7 or 8 year deal, right? But I'm just curious. I don't know who the next player is going to get 10 to 12 years.
No, you're right.
And those are the deals that get scary for me.
Yeah, but you go through, like, I mean, even just my old school, like my jersey collection, right? Where it was like, obviously it was Rhino when I was a kid, but like when we signed Alfonso Soriano, I went out and bought a Soriano jersey because we had the guy for 8 years, Then it was Rizzo, and I knew we had Rizzo for a lot. My wife surprised me for Valentine's Day and bought me a Dansby Swanson jersey. These guys are going to be here. I mean, when we signed them, like these guys are going to be here for a while, and it's like, these are my guys, and the Bregman thing I hated last year. I think it was a 4 year deal with opt-outs every year or something, or whatever. And but it wasn't a 4 year deal. It was a 1 year deal, and he opted out. And here we go all over again, talking about Alex Bregman. Again, this might be me being more old school. I'm not against player freedoms, but right now it just seems really messy. And it's like, we just did Bregman last year. He signed a big contract, but no, let's do him again this year. So I wish that the player would commit to the team like a team commits to the player, but maybe those days are gone. I don't know.
Look, you're making a good point where it's like, as excited as I was when Kyle Tucker got traded to the Cubs.
Yes.
There was a 0% shot I was going out and buying a jersey.
Right.
Because of, I didn't know where it was going to go. And I'm with you that I got a couple quirky jerseys in my closet, right? I got a Rashawn Salam Bears jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I still have a Mitch Trubisky jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've played that game before, but I'm with you. You want to, when you buy a jersey, because they are expensive now, but you want to support your team and you want to rep your franchise. There's a consideration into, is this guy going to be around?
Yeah.
Is this a legacy jersey that I'm buying, or is this going to be a jersey that's either going to be ironic or made fun of when I go to Murphy's for future Cubs games because the dude didn't stick around? So
listen,
I hear you.
I have my problems with the way the Shohei Ohtani contract was done, and I think that can be addressed in the offseason next year. But I give Shohei Ohtani credit for committing for 10 years or whatever it is to the Dodgers, right? Like there's no opt-outs, there's no trade clause. I mean, like he's like, I'm going to be a Dodger for X amount of years, no questions asked. I would have bought that jersey in a second. Like that's what I kind of want. The guy is like give Chicago your heart, and we will rally behind you, man. Like we got you, you know?
Yeah, the other one, we got to get out of here, but the other one that I think MLB needs to consider is they need to get more creative in terms of signing bonus, and they need to get more creative, I think, in front-loading money. Because the reason why Mike Trout right now can't be traded to a contender, he is stuck in Anaheim right now, is because it is locked in, I believe, like $32 million or whatever the number is for the next 5 or 6 years. No one wants to pay that. The Angels don't want to eat that. They could have paid him that money or given him some version like the NFL does of a signing bonus when he signed when he was still Mike Trout, and now that money would have been more amenable. The Angels could move on from Mike Trout and get prospects back. Trout could go to a place and compete, but unfortunately, that's not how the contract was structured. I don't understand why there isn't more of a signing bonus and why there isn't more of a front load thing. Clearly, that's collectively bargained, and that's just a conversation for another day. We got to get out of here, my man. Justin, you've been the best, man. Thank you so much for hopping on while Luke has been sick. Clearly, we're going to see you next week either way.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get 100% healthy Luke. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just rooting for it, man. Every day I'm checking in with him. You know what I mean? Like doing some towel drills, getting in the cage. It's just like we're in ramp-up mode. We're not sending him to AAA for a rehab assignment. When he is ready, he will be back.
You know what?
In this main square. You know what I'm
Joey,
saying? Ready to roll.
I think he's milking it. He's just waiting for a big signing. He wants to come back with like, yo, we just signed so-and-so. And he's going to be like, I'm fine. Let's go. I think he's like faking it a little bit and just waiting for that big moment so he can come like be the savior.
Once again, that's what makes Luke Stuckmeyer a pro. He skips all the what are we doing, and then he shows up with the what have we done.
Yeah,
that is the work of an Emmy-winning broadcaster right there, and that is another lesson that I've just learned from him. Shout out to Sarah, who's always been awesome on the ones and twos. Justin, Joey Christopoulos, like this video, subscribe to the channel, whether it's CHGO Sports or CHGO Cubs. It's absolutely free. We will be back next week unless something happens over the weekend with Emergency Podcast. Happy New Year, everyone. 2026. We say it, but we're going to say it again. 2026, it's going to be the best CHGO Cubs year that we've ever had with this channel. We're so excited to spend it with you, so thank you for your support. Have a wonderful weekend. Remember, as Luke always says, fly the W. See you later.
Happy New Year.
We all silly like the mayor.